My girlfriend, 24 female, is upset that I, 25 male, have tattoos of my female friend. For this post I'll call my friend Julia. She passed away 5 years ago. She was my first and best friend growing up. Our families are close, so we have been friends since we were babies. There was no romantic feelings ever. Just a best friend, sister. We were big fans of pop-punk, alt, emo music. Specifically this band called the Wonder Years. The last album she was alive to hear was their No Closer to Heaven album, and we both, "We're no saviors if we can't save our brothers," tattooed on us. Which is a line said on a couple songs throughout the album. She died from a car accident. Saddest moment in my life was hearing that news. I have a lot of tattoos on both of my arms and back. I got her name tattooed with a heart around it and a date. That band has released 2 albums since Julia's death, and I have gotten lyrics that I feel like she would like the most tattooed. And #X200B. I've been dating my current girlfriend for the last 2 years and it's great. I love her a lot. We really work as a couple. She asked me why I have a Julia with a heart tattooed on me, and I understand why that would be off-putting. Like if she had Steve in a heart, I would be curious as well. I told her about it and she thought it was sweet, but over time I can tell whenever I take off my shirt and she sees that Julia tattoo, it irks her. Last week the Wonder Years released a new album and I got "You're the Reason I Won't Want the World to End" tattooed. She asked me about it and I told her about how I have gotten a tattoo for every album they have released since Julia's death. This got her really upset that I am getting cute lyrics tattooed for another woman. I told her that she was just my friend, but she is upset. The other lyric I have from the album before this is, "From the ground we look like lighting." She seems really put off by this and I don't know how to explain. Anytime I tell her about how deep our friendship was, she gets more upset. I want to mend this problem, but it also has me worried about future relationships now. Is this going to be a deal breaker in the future? Julia was my best friend and it was never romantic. She would make handcrafted necklaces and jewelry, and I have one of them hanging from my mirror in my car, and I don't think that is weird. My girlfriend is very understanding usually, so her reacting this way is new to me. It's making me wonder if doing this is a bad thing. And #X200B. Edit. I have a lot of tattoos and tattoos for other friends that passed away as well, and just general tattoos. My back and arms are covered. And #X200B. Edit 2. I have a similar tattoo tradition with a male friend that overdosed in high school. Not native in English, but I try. I kinda understand her. Your girlfriend feel like she is in Julia's shadow. She is supposed to be your life partner, but you keep holding on to someone she can't compete with. She is gone and you have made it clear no one can take her place. And to girlfriend that tells her that she will never be the one. You have all the right to hold on to Julia. But your girlfriend have all the right to be bothered by it. Emotions works like that. I mean, I'm not gonna hold you. I see why your girlfriend is annoyed. You are getting more and more tattoos with very sentimental lyrics for another woman. IDK, maybe you don't realize, but you probably are putting her on the back burner. You need to sit down with her and ask if this is a deal breaker. Or you need to decide if it's a deal breaker. Girlfriend broke up with me for rebounding too soon after breakup. This past year my girlfriend and I found out we were having a baby. At first we were happy, then she was unsure on whether she wanted to keep the baby or get an abortion. This went on for 2 months. In August we got into a huge fight that ended in us breaking up. She ended up telling me she hated me, she never wanted to see me again, and she was getting the abortion for sure. I was upset and very hurt that this was the length that she would go to be done with me. I had no choice other than to believe the relationship was over. I've never been good with dealing with emotions. In the past it's been turning to drugs and sex to cope, but I've been sober for a while now, so drugs was not an option for me. So I created a dating profile almost 2 days later and decided the best way for me to get over it was to try talking to someone new. It lasted all of a few hours before I deactivated the account. I matched and talked to 2 women, but I felt disgusting and felt like I was cheating on my girlfriend because I love her, so I stopped, and a few hours later, things calmed down between us and we eventually worked things out. I haven't talked to anyone else or reactivated the profile since then. Tonight I was woken up with her slapping my chest with my phone in her hand, asking me when the profile was made. I told her the truth, it was made while we were broken up, but she wasn't trying to hear any of that. She flipped out and left. I begged her to just listen to me, but she was understandably too upset to have a conversation. When I was finally able to talk to her, she's saying she is really done now and she hates me for moving on so fast. I admit I shouldn't have chose to deal with it that way, but I feel like it wouldn't have mattered if I was never going to see or hear from her again. Just tell her you didn't move on from her. Also, what happened to the baby? This entire relationship sounds extremely toxic. You two should not be bringing a child in this world. You say broken up, but you clearly got back together pretty quick. How long was the break? And I assume yous were speaking all throughout the break, and that yous were acting as though yous were still in a relationship throughout the break also? TBF, she broke up with in spectacular fashion, closing the door on possible reconciliation, saying she going to abort your child, and you were just trying to cope. People deal with it in different ways, and if the worst thing you did was talk to a couple of girls after she broke up with you, don't beat yourself up. I also want to commend you for not relapsing, turning to drugs to cope. You were broken up, this is her issue to get over. My wife begged me not to divorce her, then I caught her cheating again. This is a follow-up to my last post. It's been almost 2 weeks since I confronted my wife about her cheating, where she rightfully admitted to it and made promises never to speak with her tennis coach again. She begged for me not to file for divorce, and given that I don't exactly have time to deal with this, told her that I'm only giving her one last chance. Any more of this rubbish and this marriage is no longer. During my last shift, I decided to give my wife a surprise bouquet. Although I would actually be back in Hong Kong on Saturday, I informed my wife that I would be back on Sunday. Imagine my shock when I came home on Saturday and I saw both my wife and the tennis coach half naked in the living room. He even had one of my boxers on. I told him if he doesn't GTFO, I'm shoving that tennis racket down his throat. He immediately ran out in shame, covering his face. Meanwhile, my wife tried to gaslight me and scold me for being rude to the tennis coach. I immediately took my most important belongings and left. I'll be staying at a hotel for the next few days and am in contact with my lawyers. Oh wow, nobody could have seen this coming. She said she would stop the tennis lessons effective tomorrow. I mean, I guess she wasn't lying about that. Face with rolling eyes. You really need to start believing people when they show you their shit. Good luck in this next chapter of your life. Why are you saying in a hotel that Tramp should be the one in the hotel, not you? This is why you leave cheaters the first time. I can't believe I read again in your title. Should have kicked her out instead. My husband sent me this Joe Rogan video. I have ADHD. My husband has been struggling with my ADHD, inattentive type, because I often tune him out. He sent me this video this morning with no context. And the guy's views on ADHD are just like, flat out wrong. I feel like I've been around this merry-go-round a few times before. It just won't sink in with him that it's actually something I can't fix. Sometimes he sees me hyperfixate, and sometimes he sees me completely tune people out, and so he doesn't understand why I can't always hyperfixate on every conversation. I had incredible parents, and he has a great relationship with my parents, so there's just no truth to this video, and there's really no reason he would believe there's truth to this video in regards to me other than that he wants to. What else can I do to get it through to him that it's like real? Update. So he came home and, well, it could have gone better. But it also could have gone worse. Apparently one of our mutual friends sent him the video and he thought it was interesting, so he wanted to share it. The ensuing conversation went kind of like, me. I often have a hard time focusing on a conversation in a restaurant because there's so many distractions. Him. Yeah, when I can't hear people in a loud place, I just give up on the conversation. Me. Sometimes I hyperfocus, but I can't always turn that on. It's not a choice. Him. Yeah. Sometimes at work I just get really into what I'm focusing on and tune everybody else out. Me. It's not really a behavioral choice. Him. Sometimes behaviors are just trained in. It doesn't mean you can just change it easily. Me. Visibly disheartened. Also him. Maybe a good compromise is whenever you go on a thought tangent you just share it with me, because I really love hearing about them. Have you asked him whether he thinks that of your parents? Some people like to blindly parrot what they hear. They don't actually stop to think whether it makes sense. Anyone that would use a Rogan interview as evidence of anything other than Rogan and his show being a joke is someone you should think long and hard about removing from your life. It doesn't have to be like this. Look up, Jessica McCabe How to ADHD. She has some amazing and extremely informative videos about ADHD. I would reference some videos of her to him. He's obviously not following the science behind this neurodivergent disorder. ADHD is fundamentally part of who you are. He has to accept this. There will always be good days and bad days, but at the end of the day you still are ND with very different brain wiring. I'm sorry this is something you are struggling with. I wish people could understand this isn't something we choose, it's literally how we operate 24/7.